Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Andrew Eborn Show, where I'm delighted that yet again is my Show-Biz chum.
I know. It's also showbiz, isn't it? There's no...
Aline, how are you? We love it. The razzmatazz.
I'm all right. I've had a good day today. I did my dancing this morning.
Oh, good.
This afternoon, I had a lovely girl from 2 doors away called Izzy Turnbull.
Is it necessary?
Izzy Isabel necessary on a
bicycle. I know, it's all good stuff. And was she helpful? Because we spoke about that offline, didn't we?
She's very pretty.
She's very pretty. That wasn't my question. I'm sure, was she helpful? Did she sort out your scripts?
We did a bit of sorting, but it's very heavy. I mean, you know, it's a lot of plays and a lot of, you see, what it is, 25 plays, a whole lot of reviews and pantomimes, things like that. And there's my stuff as well, because I wrote things as well, and I wrote a lot of poetry and a lot of stories. And it was, you know, we're going to do it. We'll have to do it again. But we did actually, we know where things are now. She's written the names of things.
Well, that's what do you sort in the same way as I sort? I mean, you basically, but I sort of accumulate things, however many generations, and I, rather than throwing them away, I just move them around the home at different times.
That's exactly what we've done. We've actually, anyway, she fixed my curtains as well, though. That was the thing.
What did she do to your curtains?
Well, what happened was originally I edited them and she didn't put enough hooks in. And so, but we still haven't put, you know, we have fixed the hooks, but they're not perfect.
You have to make sure.
So when you close it, they do that bit thing, you know.
Like life and like most things in the media, you have to make sure there are enough hooks, because without those hooks, and talking of which, what I loved last time, the last little chat that we had went viral. And I'll tell you why. You know why it went viral. And people went, they were all the people who you weren't sure were watching. Somebody came out of the woodwork because we used that one word about getting a hook. What was that one word?
No, I don't know what it was, actually. It's not a word I use often.
Well, it's all part of success. So it's all that sort of stuff. But
it was just the rhyming, really. It was the rhyming.
It was the word. And all of a sudden, but talking about media and having a hook.
I know, suddenly, I know.
Use the word sex.
So do we have to put sex? This is what worries me now, is that we have to put the word sex into every single show.
We don't even mention the word sex. And I think the more times that you mention sex...
Yes, we could put things like that.
That's the hook. And I always like to come up with a wonderful sort of title, and I thought that worked out well. It was a summary of everything we spoke about last time.
It didn't really talk much about socks, did we?
Well, we're a little bit at the end. It was all about your toe cover, which I quite liked. And that was
anyway, never mind. Well, anyway, the thing about Izzy is that she did watch that. She watched the one about the play.
Oh, good.
Is that the one? Yes.
Yes. Well, we did the Alan Ayckbourn. I quite like, because you mentioned toe covers, and we mentioned about going to the Spaniards Inn when I went after my mother's funeral, and we mentioned about Jeremy Irons and Alan Ayckbourn. So when thinking of a title, you know me and my ways.
I know.
I like to get that clickbait.
Going to the egg and eye or something.
Yes.
We talked about the egg and eye.
We
didn't talk about it, actually. But then she did the plague and eye, which would not be a good title.
The plague and
she does Everybody Can Do Everything, which is another one. But you know that she lived on Vashon Island.
Oh, did she?
Opposite where Elsie lived on Puget Sound, and across Puget Sound there was Vashon Island, which is where all these things took place with Betty McDonald. You saw there were lots of tributes to Elsie.
I did.
Yeah, so sweet.
What were your memories of Elsie?
Well, I mean, it's just too much. I mean, she was family, wasn't she, you know? And just amazing. And we went on trips together, you know, we went to hotels and things. And threw the towels in the bath. And I mentioned that because I said to Aya, I said, have you thrown the towels in the bath? She said, what? You have to throw the towel. It's important. And there's this wonderful program on television called When They Go to B&Bs. And there are 4 people and going to each other's B&Bs, and they search through for hairs and dust and things like that, you know, which nobody usually cares about, but they care about it. And then they write it down. There was a hair in the bathroom, you know, things like that. And they take marks off. And then the ones that win get the most money.
Oh, very good. A friend of mine was on that program.
Is he a B&B person?
Well, he's more a hotel chap, and he does a lot of this reality. He's a reality TV star, is probably the best way of doing it.
Oh, right, yes.
His name, I don't know if he's on the particular episode you saw, but his name is Danny Lambo. And he used to be a pop star. He made all of his money when he's as a
Danny
kid.
Lambo.
Danny Lambo. He might have been on it. And Lambo was short for Lamborghinis because he bought many. He's got a whole fleet of these Lamborghinis, which is good.
Oh, right.
But he has a hotel, which is a rock and roll hotel. And he does B&B there. And he was on these things. And people would come round and they reviewed it for a TV program. And he basically had spent his life after his initial success as a rock and roll star. He was one of the original boy bands, and they were huge in Japan, that enjoyed their biggest success in Japan. He made a lot of money, and he's happy to tell everybody that. In fact, he insists on telling everybody that.
Yeah, sure.
And what happened?
Wow. Yeah.
But he was wise because he invested his money very well, and he put it into, first of all, rather than just saying, "Ah, I'm a star," and spending it all, and then it's all gone the next year.
Yes, well, that's what a lot of people do, isn't it?
That's the problem. Well, he put it into property, and he put it into a hotel, and he made it into
That is a good idea, isn't it? Yes.
Sort of hotel.
Well, did you see that Aya and I were looking at a place in Henley?
Oh, I did. I saw that.
3,500,000.
5 million. It wasn't by the river, though.
And we decided not to have it because it was not near the river. So we decided against it.
I reckon if you've got 3.5 million, you could ask for the river to be diverted.
I suppose so. But it was a very beautiful place, but there was no boathouse, you know. You need a boathouse.
You've got to have a boathouse and a duck house. Do you remember that in the House of
Oh,
Lords?
I remember that. Somebody charming is charging. Yes, they charged us for building their boathouse, their duck house. Yes.
But I think it's we've had a few goose eggs, haven't we, and a few ducks fairly recently from a political point of view. It's quite extraordinary what's going on at the moment, isn't it?
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't think we can talk about it. I mean, it's too much. I mean, I am so distressed about San Francisco, apart from anything else. So that really finished me off, because it's not just Francisco now, because it's California, Oregon, and Washington, all the loveliest places in the world, really, on the southern coast, on the west coast. I'll
tell you what, we need some good news, don't we?
We want some good news and some fun. Ha 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 ha.
Is that how you spell fun? In the middle. So what we should do, and this is what I love, this is why people write in their droves, and they say, look, we love it when you have Aline on, because we can forget the world for those moments.
Yes, well, that's what we need. Yes,
that is what we
need to forget the world.
We can forget the world for a moment. What we can also do is get all your chums, and they all come on social media and say, you can't say that.
We'll do that. Now look, I'm trying to get through this. The speaking voices. He was my son in the Dales. You know that I was in a program called Dales, the Dales.
Tell everybody. So what I like on this program is we introduce people to, I know very well, but we can introduce people to little nuggets I call them. Nuggets. Well, tell us about the program first of all, and I know he played your son, but tell us about the program first of all and how long it ran for. It was an iconic program.
But tell him.
Tell all of you.
I was going to talk about him.
Oh, we're going to talk about him, but I want to set it in context.
I'm not going to talk about the program to him. You will see that. You'll see that on his timeline, won't you?
I know, but I want it on your timeline first. So all the people watching, some of whom will know you from the Dales and then know, oh my goodness, it's her from the Dales. How can they love all of it? others. I need to set it in context because it's an iconic program. We can introduce it to a new generation. So tell us, in your own words, about the Dales.
About the Dales. Well, it's quite interesting because Izzy's grandmother knew me from something or other, but she couldn't remember what it was. But it might have been the Dales. Mrs. Dale's Diary, it was a story of a doctor's wife. It was this, first of all, this is how it started. It was set in Parkwood Hill, which was a kind of Wimbledon type place. And she was a doctor and she was a doctor's wife. And it was just about them, and it went on for twice a day for years. And then at one point, the person playing the daughter had dropped out. And I was asked, well, it was one of those BBC auditions where I got the job and then they auditioned everybody, you know, and I read in for all the people who were, anyway, typical, I have to say that. Sorry, BBC. Anyway, so there I was, and I was reading in for them all. And then, so I had the job, and I'd already done a few episodes already. But I was lucky in that I was freelance at the time, so it meant I could go away and do other things. So that was all right. And but somebody I knew said to me, "You do realize you are ruining your career by doing this job?" And I said, yes, I probably, you know, I've never been very ambitious, really. And anyway, and then he gave me this wonderful job, the tour of The Moon is Blue. The guy who said I was ruining my career by doing so. So that went on for quite some time. It was wonderful. There's only two other people in it, two guys in it. So that was nice. And there was a nice song that we all sang. And there were several songs. We also sang, he dances over, yes, the Jessie song, he dances overhead. We used to sing that, and we used to sing Never Entered My Mind. Because that was the only record we had with Frank Sinatra doing those two songs. So we did that, and we had a cottage in Cornwall. And it was brilliant, wonderful job there. And then when I came back, then everything changed, and I was given a contract because they were fed up with me going away and coming back. Because I did a season at Bournemouth, and I used to come get the 6 o'clock train from Bournemouth to the BBC, and then leave the BBC and get the 5 o'clock train back to Bournemouth and bring up on the theatre at the half, saying I'm here. And this went on. They didn't mind, but the BBC got a bit fed up with it because they thought, you know. So anyway, so I had to go on this contract. And it was quite lucky because I was pregnant, and I had my child, and we lived in Riding House Street, which was near the Peep. So that was okay. And that lasted until 1969.
And quite, I mean, fantastic. And you raise a number of points there, because a lot of actors watching this program, they think it is that time when you want to have the security of a long-term role.
Oh, you don't.
But, and this is why you say you don't, because a lot of people think, well, they call it typecast. They think that this is the role. They're always going to associate Mrs. Dale's daughter or whatever, you know, and then you'll never escape that. What advice would you give them?
Don't do it. I mean, I'd say that to everything, don't I? But no, but it depends. If you want to get money, if you want to get fame, you go into television, don't you? Because try and get into a sitcom, one of those things. Not the sitcoms, no, the soaps. But I didn't want to do that. And they offered me various things. I mean, I've told you all this anyway, haven't I? But the whole point about this situation is that the person playing my son was a young man of about 25, but he had to play 16 years old, because I'd already had a girl playing my son until then. And then we decided that at 16, you've got to have a man's voice, you see. So this guy came in, very, very sweet person. And he was very clever, and he could play, you know, play a boy because he was a boy actor. And his book is about how he became a boy actor, and, you know, got jobs when he was up in Geordie land. He was a Geordie. And
speaking volumes, you should hold it up so everybody can see. This is what he looks like. This is what he looks like now. Hold it up. Let's lift up the book. There we are. So you're plugging it for him, which is wonderful.
Very nice looking. But I mean, there's more to it than that, you see. So then I started this music hall. I started off by doing a music hall company, and which he unfortunately calls an old time music hall, which is not correct. Anyway, but which is, he will see this. He said, I said, I think you should do something. He said, I can't sing. I said, yes, you can. I know you can sing. And if you tell somebody you know they can sing, they can. That is what I have found in my life. So anyway, he came on and he did this. He found a song. You had to go to the libraries and things and find these old songs. And he found this one called Oh, Emilia. And it just so happened that there was a lady in the audience, well, Betty Lawrence, who was a musical director at the Players Theatre, and she had written a musical, and she cast him straight away. And off he went. In a musical, the guy who couldn't sing, right? So anyway, and he had a nice musical career, but he also started reading books, and he has read 800 audio books.
Good heavens. That deserves an OBE.
What?
That deserves an OBE.
Well, he got an MBE, actually.
Oh, an MBE. which is better? I always try to remember.
The OBE is the big one, yeah.
The OBE is, and they used to say it's my efforts, and the other one's the others' effort.
No, we got Bert Kwok an OBE. I mean, you just write an awful lot of letters and things.
Yeah, I understand. There's an interesting process to it, and
yes.
and what I love, especially those in the profession, they have to do their best acting ever, not to tell anybody, because the pressure.
Oh, that is true. Yes, you mustn't tell anybody.
Get it. I mean, I will act surprised. You watch, but you have to.
You'll be there. You'll be on the phone. You'll be on the television. You'd have everybody say, "Hi, guess what's happened? Guess what's happened?"
So what?
I'm wonderful. I've got an OBE.
What sort of steak would you like? A sirloin, please.
Yeah, yes, that's right. Oh my God. You want to be a sir. Sir Andrew.
Hard, wouldn't it?
Sir Andrew, yeah. Anyway, what he's done, he's written this book.
Oh, there it is again, yes.
and I just thought I'd mention it. I haven't really read it yet.
And
I know.
With him still.
I know, because he's a reader of books, but he actually read. But he was apparently very good at English. I've read the first bit when he was at school.
Yeah.
He was very good at English, but no good at maths. So he didn't pass his 11+.
He didn't pass it. Good heavens.
No. So he went to a secondary modern school or whatever they were called in those days.
It is funny because every time exam results come out, you have a lot of the famous people come out and say, well, I didn't pass my exams, but look how wonderful I am today.
I know.
Jeremy Clarkson does that, I think, every year on exam places.
Did he not pass the 11+ either?
I'm not quite sure what he got, and he will no doubt tell us, but I understand he's the same tweet round every time around A-level times and say, don't worry, because look at me, and I didn't do days, and so that's good. So it is possible to do brilliant things without that, and your
yes, of course, but you have to have a certain personality to push yourself, you know.
Yeah, I think it is right. I mean, that we always talk, and we talked about this on the program beforehand, about what makes somebody a star, and there is that little X factor, isn't there? I mean, can you spot it?
Yes. Yeah. I think I know when people have got talent. I mean, I do know that, and I wouldn't touch anybody who didn't have it, because it's very important to me. And who behave properly and who do the right things and turn up on time, and that's the thing that drives me insane.
Oh, I know it does. You get grumpy if people don't turn up on time.
I do. I do. Yes, that's if it's one person. But obviously, if it's a whole cast of people and somebody doesn't turn up, then everybody hates them. You know, they're really because you can't do anything unless everybody's there. You know.
No, but there used to be this thing in many places. It was like a power struggle. I mean, it used to happen in Hollywood a lot, where people would deliberately make people wait.
Oh, I know.
And it's
Hollywood was a terrible, terrible place.
well, but culturally, I think they stopped that now, because now time is our most precious commodity.
So
And
now the actors now, of course, can quote their own fee and everything. I mean, in those days, they were just put under contract and paid very little money, and just had to do as they were told.
And it is quite tragic when you're hearing about some of the famous actors, and you hear what they had to do for actually relatively small amounts of money.
Yeah.
And that was
Well, they had to sleep with the right people as well.
I know
They had a cop that had to write a thing about them, you know.
Yeah, it's tragic, and all of those, and this is why you get such tragic figures about that sort of stuff. I mean, obviously, you had, with your rich history and your wonderful relationship as well going on, you had a little glimpse into Hollywood life.
What, with Robin?
Yeah.
Robin lived in Hollywood, obviously.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
he was. No, I mean, he just talked about the people he liked and the people he didn't like. Really,
Who did he like?
He liked Olivia de Havilland, and he hated her sister.
Oh wow! What did he like about Olivia?
Well, she was just nice and friendly and talked to people. You know, the sister used to kiss him all over his face and put lipstick all over his face. Joan. She and her husband were the. Should I say this?
I don't know. You can't
well, they were the biggest bores in Hollywood.
That's quite an accolade. And I think wasn't there a fair bit of competition at that stage?
No. I mean, the thing is that Ian, obviously, I mean, the people that Ian knew were all the English people.
Yes.
So, you know, so those are the people he knew. I mean, he knew Frank Astaire, Fred Astaire, I mean, not Frank.
Frank Astaire, he didn't do so well, but it's kind of.
Frank Astaire, no, he got lost in the shuffle.
Yes.
No, he knew a lot of them, you know, and Edward Hardwicke, of course. I was trying to remember his name the other day. That's the son of Sir Cedric Hardwicke.
Yes.
And he was in Jeremy Brett. So what is his name? Shylock. Not Shylock. Oh, what's the name?
It's the name we can never forget. But what's
that ridiculous Baker Street?
Oh, it was Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock, not Shylock. Sherlock.
Shylock was in a different movie.
but Robin was in one of those films. They did films as well.
I know.
As a television series.
I know.
Outside of Four was a film, and Robin was in it.
Yeah.
In Malta, and we all went to Malta.
And
had such fun because Jeremy went. He wasn't in the bit. He wasn't in that bit, but he went anyway.
Right.
For fun. So we had a very funny time, yes.
And it is, and I tell you, it's what we said beforehand. I mean, actually, everybody's interesting, everybody's funny, and everybody's sad, and everybody's miserable, and everybody can be boring. It all depends on when you speak with them. And it all depends on, as you say, it's talking about chemistry. It's that chemistry which you had with Oliver Reed. It's that sort of...
I'm sick to death of chemistry with Oliver Reed.
but you have to do the clickbait.
He said it, I didn't say it.
What? He said that. Oliver Reed said that he had.
He said that we had chemistry. Yes.
Yes, you see, very good. We love that.
He probably said that. He said that to all the girls, I think.
Did he? Probably. Did he say that to all the girls?
Probably.
But did you hear him say it to anybody else?
No, I didn't. But then he wouldn't let me hear him say it, would they?
There you go. So a wise man. Very good. And we talk about the hook, and this is why I say your hook and your curtains, and it does make people realise you have
Oliver Reed. All right, what's the hook? What's going to be the hook today then?
Well, the hook is exactly that. Well, firstly, as we realised last time, you were worried last time that none of your chums were watching you on these glorious programs.
Yeah, but they were watching, but they wouldn't
all of a sudden, we mentioned the word sex, and the whole of the internet exploded.
The internet
is burning. Early irons, they said.
It's so funny. There was nothing about sex in it at all.
No, but I told you that's the hook.
That's what was so funny.
You put the irons in the fire, see what I did there? And then all of a sudden, everybody comes out, don't they? It was quite extraordinary.
Right. So what did I talk about to Bill? I can't remember.
Well, you went off to the
I
restaurant.
gave him your love, or whatever it is you sent.
Fantastic, fantastic.
And we had a nice time. And he paid.
Oh, that's kind of him.
Yes. Yes, he likes to pay things.
Oh, I'll see him more often. Sounds good.
She's going to Cornwall next week.
Oh, I love Cornwall.
Holiday. Yes, so do I. So do I.
And you were in the West End at the same time as I was in the West End, but you had a different experience. So tell me, because you went to the restaurant, it was all deserted, wasn't it?
I went to the Coa.
Yes.
Yes. No, that's the one behind the, you know what it is, behind the station. They don't know. Behind Leicester Square Station is a place.
That's the one.
Where I went, actually Robin and I went there with Jeremy, Brett and...
I thought you were going to say Jeremy Irons, and I thought not. Here we go.
No, not Jeremy Irons, Jeremy Brett.
Jeremy Brett.
There's lots of Jeremys in the world.
Yes, it's very nice.
Yes, we went. That was the first time I went there, but we went inside. But last night there was nobody inside.
Maggie Smith always turns up.
Sitting on the outside.
I bet Maggie was there.
Maggie was there, yes.
Yeah, Maggie Smith, she's always there. We love Maggie Smith. How was she?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I didn't talk to her.
Right.
She was very old.
Okay.
No. I mean, what I mean is that she was concentrating on getting to the place.
Okay, no, I understand.
We sat in the front bit, you know, with the locked off bit. We sat in that bit because I went there. I got there early because I didn't know how long it would take me to get there. As I haven't been in the West End since lockdown.
Well, I was in the West End yesterday. I think you saw the footage, and it was extraordinary.
Yes, yeah, that was strange, wasn't it?
Isn't it weird?
And nothing happened.
I was just walking around London, as I do. I'd had a meeting myself somewhere in the West End, and I walked back to my place in Regent's Park, and I saw these Extinction Rebellion. There was only 7 of them. They're all dressed up in this.
Yes, dressed up.
Yeah, which is great. They can attach media attention. And talk about a hook, as you were talking about for your curtains. That's what you want for the media. The media want a story. So none of them could speak. I was doing my bit. I was there and I was interviewing people, and they couldn't speak. But a spokesman suddenly popped up who called himself the King of the Fairies. There he was. And he told me the story. But what was the extraordinary thing? They managed not only to get the media, but there were 7 of them, only 7. They were quite peaceful, all in their white and drawing that particular message.
Yes, they're like penitent monks, yes.
The police presence, and we had helicopters.
I know, thousands of police. I saw the thing, I looked at it, I saw it today.
I know, wasn't it extraordinary?
It's quite extraordinary. And
And
nothing happened.
Oh, no, I know. And you sort of think, well, how are the media going to report this? And so I thought, well, I'll just keep filming. It was live anyway, so you can see the video of it. And I kept on filming, and I chatted to both sides. They were very friendly. He told me why they were there, and atonement for our sins and forgiveness and repentance. So for all the sins to the world, and I get that bit. And then I spoke to the police. And they said, oh, well, and I said, there's only 7 of them. Why are there so many people? Are you expecting trouble? And they sort of, but it did seem a bit of, it seemed a bit too many, is what I would say.
It was a bit weird because it was very much like the sort of thing that Trump did, you see, by sending in a whole lot of bullies to stir trouble up in a nice, peaceful place, you know. Sorry, I'm not allowed to say that. But anyway,
you're allowed to say everything, because I will always balance it, as you know, and I always like to put both sides because it's only an opinion.
I know you do. It's so irritating. I can't tell you. I can't. I want.
If there's a fence, you see me sit on it. I'll tell you what, but I won't go. I will take the opposite side. I'll take both sides because it is important. Because my friend, my good friend, is up for a Peace Prize as well. Did you see he's been nominated?
I just don't want to say anything about it.
And what is interesting, November the 3rd, it's an election year. And this is when the most extraordinary things, and you know, the biggest fascination for me is the media and how the media is used to manipulate.
I know.
And that is...
What are they going to do? You think he's going to get in, don't you?
I told you for the last several times. I made money from the head of a news network. I made money on, firstly, he would get the nomination. He said, oh, that would never happen. Made money on that. Secondly, I'll tell you, and then he doubled it. He said, "Oh, I'll tell you what, give me a chance. At least give me my money back." I said, "Okay, I'll double it. I'll bet he'll beat Hillary." I said, "Oh, no, he'll never do that." And of course, we doubled the money. And then I got it right on Brexit. I got it right on the Conservatives and other things. And the things that people miss is that human behavior and history follows patterns. And if you understand that, you can predict things.
So what are you predicting?
Well, I am predicting that there will be surprises and you shouldn't rule him out altogether.
There will be surprises, yes. I can predict that as well.
Now, I reckon, had it not been this pandemic, had it not been for the pandemic, then I would have said absolutely a second term is assured. What happens is it's the economy. And what happens when you look at middle America, and people always discount middle America. People wonder why, because people are what...
That's where the monsters are. They're awful people in middle America.
Well, but people say they always discount what they describe as the shy voters. So the reason pollsters get it wrong, in my opinion, it's only an opinion, but my opinion sometimes hit it on the nail. But the reason pollsters get it wrong is they will ask you how you're going to vote. Now, people know that if you state certain views, they're unpopular. So I reckon what happened is the reason the pollsters got it wrong is people lied about how they were going to vote. And I think it's also true about Brexit.
When once they've lied about the vote, they will vote that way to stand, and they will vote that way. And the polls don't make any sense at all,
and
actually.
That's the reason, in my opinion.
That's the problem, I know.
In my opinion. And the reason got it wrong so often, and I got it right. I predicted it out in the media, and I put it out there first, and I was the only one in the media to say this and predict it with astounding accuracy. What happened was exactly that. People underestimated people's ability to turn around and not tell the truth when asked by a pollster. And they underestimated the ability of the media. And what happens, it doesn't matter about the extremes. There are always people who are not going to vote, and there are always people who are going to vote. What you have to focus on is that middle ground who are not quite sure, and you work out what's going to float their boat. What is the hook, as we talk about for those curtains over there?
The hook will be that there's a poll that says that this is going to be the result, so they will go for that.
Exactly. And there are clever ways of making sure that people don't vote. So, for example, a clever way is to get complacency. So you tell people that the other person's so far ahead in the polls, and then people don't bother to go out and vote. Now that then also tips it. And there are all sorts of
lots of tricks.
Lots of tricks.
And you know all about tricks.
I know all about tricks. I know what sells, like sex.
You know all about tricks, though, no, because it's your job. It's
my job.
Well, one of your jobs.
One of my multiple jobs. Octopus. We have tentacles everywhere, so it's got to be good. But we love all that sort of stuff. And I do think that human nature is fascinating. And the way that the media report things, and they shine a spotlight on a particular moment in time. It's like a snapshot. It's what they say about a balance sheet. It's a snapshot of where you are at a particular moment. And I see that a lot. I have the joy of living in the heart of London, the throbbing heart of the best city in the world. And I can walk around and see these stories evolving. And we then see it on the news, and you say, well, hang about, that's not quite what happened. And you must see that all the time, don't you?
Well, you've never, what is it? You never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
You see, I coined well, it's always the way, you work on the hook, you work on the sensational headline in the same way as we worked out last time that all your closet admirers who you weren't sure were watching you will use the word sex, out they all come.
So what word are we going to use this
time?
I
think we're definitely going to have sex cells, because we know that, we know that's definitely true.
We're not going to call it sex cells, are you?
Well, what do you? Well, we might do. We quite like that. What do you think? I mean, we could also mention about the Dales, because I think the Dales is important. I think that's I think that's good. We might even weave your chum.
You say Aline used to do it twice a day.
Oh, that's a good idea. Sex cells, Aline used to do it twice a day. Right, I'll scribble that one down. Right. Oh, we love it.
I know. I mean, loads of those. Because I mean, when doing music hall, you know, when you do Victorian stuff, you know, well, you've heard me song the songs. Only you haven't. Sorry, I keep thinking you've heard me my songs. I mean, I wrote music hall songs, rude songs.
I know you did. I know you did. I've heard little snippets of them, but I always want to encourage you to do more, and you can do some on the show. Maybe each time we should finish on a song. That's a typical Show-Biz thing, isn't it? Do you remember that? That's how.
Something like that.
Did you write the words to that one?
I don't know what the words are.
I know.
No, but there is a good one, Land of Hope and Glory, we could finish up on.
Oh, that's a good. Well, no, but now there are certain things like in the proms that they're trying to get rid of something.
They're putting them back in. They're putting them back in, yeah.
What
I mean, there would be a lot of trouble if they'd cut out Land of Hope and Glory and things like that. My son was very angry about that. He was writing letters to the BBC about it.
Oh, what did he say in his letter?
How dare they cut them out of the proms?
Well,
sometimes it's the only thing that people listen to, watch all year. They just watch so they can sing Land of Hope and Glory.
Yes.
Why have you got an arrow on your mouth?
I've got what have I got in my mouth?
Oh, it's my arrow. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Oh, is there a screen on the thing that you think I've got an arrow? you think there was like a little cursor on your computer screen? I'm swallowing the arrow. Only you can see that. But you're right. What I said beforehand is that most people don't mean to offend. But what's happening now is that people are looking for ways of interpreting things. And I think what we need to do is turn around and say, look, we don't mean offense. It's right that we can't rewrite history, but let's look at things in new eyes and work on that sort of basis. So I believe in George or not war, as you know. So you work on that sort of basis, get people talking about it, and then we can find a way forward. And it's by shining a spotlight on the errors and omissions of the past that we make sure we don't make those mistakes again. But
no, I tell you what, this book is doing very well. Lots and lots and lots of people are reading that book.
Oh, good. Well, it speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It does speak volumes, yes.
Very good. And are you in touch with your previous son?
Of course I am.
Where does he live?
He lives in Hampstead.
Well, it's just around the corner from you.
West Hampstead.
That's Kilburn.
I'm trying to remember the name of the street and I can't, but I better not give it anyway. He lives in a house behind John Lewis's. Not John Lewis's, Waitrose.
Oh, does it? Do you think people will flock there?
Waitrose. What?
Do you think if you give the address, people would flock there? Is that what you're worried about?
Of course they would, yes.
Yes, so we never disclose addresses.
We don't want them flocked.
There's no flocking. We'll do that.
Oh dear.
That's what he should say.
He's a very nice person, and he does mention me in it.
Oh, good. What does he say? Dig out the bit. Has he done that clever trick that they do in those big books? Has he done an index at the back?
No.
Because that's what you have to do. And I know a few people who write these wonderful biographies, and sometimes other people's autobiographies, not quite sure how that works, but they will ghostwrite them. And they are always told by the publishers to put a little index at the back of all the famous people, when we talk about hooks, all the famous people you're talking about. So when you found your passage, how far into the book did you have to find it?
It's on the second page.
Oh, perfect. Can you read it?
Thank you. Anna Cropper, Stanley Bates, Gillian Bell, Simon Cox, Derek James, Helen Lloyd, Ron Moody, Roger Sansom, Simon Smith, Andrew Trespass, Aline Waites, and Richard Woodhouse.
Aline Waites, fantastic. Ron Moody, you mentioned. Ron Moody, talking about Shylock and Sherlock.
No, it's not that Ron Moody, I don't think.
What do you mean not that Ron Moody? Well, which Ron Moody was it?
I don't know. Ron Moody died, didn't he? Died, Ron Moody?
Yeah, I know, some time ago. But I had the joy of meeting him.
I was at the Shaw Theatre.
Yes.
I went to see him at the Shaw Theatre, and then we had a party afterwards. And that's how I remember that he died shortly after that. So I remember that he died.
Right. Well, he was in my very, very first movie that I watched rather than was in, which was Oliver. And
yes. And
he was,
Oliver Reed was in Oliver.
I
In
know he
Oliver.
was. Didn't you have a bit of chemistry with Oliver Reed? But that's right. It was brilliant, and he was, and Ron Moody was Fagin, absolutely. And what I loved, and Bulldog, wasn't he? Had do you remember that dog? What was it? Bullseye, not Bulldog. Bullseye. Bullseye was the name of the dog. And I was scared. I saw it in my little local cinema. It's the first time I ever went to the cinema. I was about 6. I went with my grandfather, William Wheeler, and he took me. It was on a cinema. I still remember it to this day. It's still there, actually. It's in High Barnet. I was born, talking about addresses, I was born at 89 Station Road, High Barnet. Nobody's going to camp out for that. That's okay.
I knew somebody who lived there.
Who? Who was it?
They were called Rogers.
Rogers.
Yes. There was Bill Rogers, but they were Bill Rogers and his wife were quite old. And then there was John, who had they'd all got red hair, bright red hair. And there was a girl called Glenys and a boy called John and a Bill. And John was a D.H. Evans. He did the windows, window dresser.
Right.
And Billy was a baker.
Billy a baker?
Yeah. And they were Rogers, and they lived in, and you could get from King's Cross very quickly, because you get on the train to King's Cross and then get off there. And I used to go and stay with them when I was, very young. I mean, obviously left ages ago. And when I used to, spend a lot of go and see all the shows on my own, I used to go and stay with them.
Oh, brilliant! So you knew them down in
just get the train to King's Cross,
in High Barnet. Absolutely, wasn't that good?
Isn't that funny?
What do you remember about High Barnet?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I think they had a bungalow, but if they had a bungalow, they wouldn't have had room for 3 boys and me.
Yes. Well, I don't know, you can get some pretty big bungalows. But 89 Station Road, and that's why I thought, well, they would have been, we had to track down their address, but I saw my first cinema, Ron Moody, who was brilliant, and many years
I might have been to that cinema, mind I.
Yes, you must have been to that cinema. It's still there. I think it's now an Odeon or something, but I can't remember what it was at the time. But I was 6 at the time. My first movie. And Oliver, and Ron Moody was brilliant in it. And many years later, I was performing magic, close-up magic, at a charity event, and Ron Moody was there. And I performed some magic on him. And he was such a charming man.
Very nice. I know, because he had a reputation for being rather grumpy.
Well, you know my views on that.
Lovely. Yeah.
Grumpy. Everybody's grumpy. Depends on when you speak to them, and everybody's nice. But you and I, we speak to a lot of people. You can tell when people are genuinely nice. I mean, fake sincerity, you can fake anything, as Bob Monkhouse used to say. And you used to work. Ron Moody came over as such a generous. I mean, there's me doing my tricks and other bits and pieces, and he was so generous and so welcoming. He was commanding the table, beckoned me over, got me doing my stuff for however long I did it, and he made me feel great for that moment. And it's the first time I'd met him. I thought, what a lovely, lovely man. So I hope it's the same guy. I hope it's the same Ron Moody in your chum's book.
No, it wouldn't be, because he's only been writing the book for a short time, about a year or something, I think. I don't know. I'll have to read the book before I go further.
Oh, you've done the highlight.
I've had it for a while. I've had too many
The highlight of the book's on page 2 when it mentions your name. That's enough now. You've done it. It's okay.
Yes, no, I just objected to the fact that he called it oldie-timey music hall.
Yes, well, is it oldie-time? But how would you define it then? Because an old-time musical, and it used to be...
Either it is traditional music hall.
Yes.
Or in our case, when after we'd done traditional music hall, because we got fed up with it, obviously you can't go on forever doing the same thing, then it was comedy music hall.
Comedy music hall. Because I used to go, my uncle John, I had 2 Uncle Johns, one on my mother's side, married to my mother's sister called John Burden, and my father's brother called John Eborn. And he used to go along to the Players Theatre down by, just by
Yes, Villa Street, yes.
And he gave me, because I used to live in the Temple. I think I told you, when I was a baby barrister, they gave me a scholarship flat for free for a whole year. And so I could walk. I never appreciated it as a kid, but I had a scholarship flat free for a year, and I got a free wig and a free Batman gown, and I used to love all that sort of stuff. And the real joy is that Uncle John would make me a member of the Players Theatre. So I could go along and see these fantastic productions. And it was a wonderful community, wasn't it?
Yes, yes. There were some very good things there. Yes, there was some brilliant stuff there. And the shows were good. I didn't like the way they handled the music hall because, no, I had very strong ideas about how to do it because I didn't know anything about it, but I made up my own, my own ideas about it. And I tried to get as far away from them as possible, from their style as possible. Obviously, because, it's silly to copy people. I don't like copying people. And I didn't like the way that the girls always just came on and did verse, chorus, chorus, verse, chorus, audience, chorus, off. I mean, what's that? There was nobody was thinking about what the song was about. They were just doing verse, chorus, off, That, I couldn't cope with that. But when Robin was on, there were certain people who were worth going to see, and Robin was one of them, because Robin was on a lot. I don't know what you must.
What did Robin do when he was on? What sort of things would he?
He was usually the chairman.
Right, and that's a great role, isn't it?
Well, it would be very good for you. Yes, but he didn't do it anything like anybody else. As somebody said, he was laid back.
Right.
I wouldn't say laid back. I just thought he played it, much more cleverly than the people who shouted all the time. Because a lot of people just shouted. When I mustn't go on about this because I do have quite strong things about this that I shouldn't really say because
I like it.
A lot of them were my friends, They weren't my enemy, they were my friends. And I just didn't like what they were doing. And also there were times when people who I've been working with and they would go there and suddenly they couldn't do it as far as I was concerned, because they weren't thinking.
You have to think, don't you? I mean, there's a certain skill.
You have to do each number as if it's a 3-act play, and you have to work right through, and you have to think your way right through it. You've got to know what it was about, why it was written, etc. I just believe in doing it that way.
Oh no,
rather than
you mentioned it among that sort of stuff. You thought I could do it. Why do you think I could do it?
What?
You said, oh, you could do it. You said to me.
Yes, you could. You do it. You've done it, haven't you?
Oh, I have. So why do you think I could do it? And what are the tips you would give to people if they're looking at doing it?
Well, I don't give people tips because everybody is different.
Oh, I know, but you've mentioned.
I gave a script to somebody.
Yes.
I wrote a script to somebody, and I find out that now everybody does that. They does musical. Whenever they do a musical, they do that script.
Oh,
That's who they are.
Oh, it's your script they do.
Script, yes.
Pay you money. I believe that people should be paid for their creative stuff.
No, well, no. Somebody did I think it was Bob Lister. He did a musical for me, and he didn't know what to do. So I just wrote the script for him. And I think that script has now become the script that everybody does. And it's like a lot of the things. I told you about Rutter, didn't I?
Tell me
Barry Rutter, who did this. The Mother's Shana, rang me up to ask if he could do it. And I said no, and he did it.
Not good.
But he didn't realise that, that it takes a long time to work things out. They don't happen like magic.
And this is why, as you know, my background is as an intellectual property lawyer. and we have to fight the corner for creatives, because the
Yeah,
whole idea, without the creative industry being justly rewarded, without that sort of protection, we will lose it. You have to, people need to eat at the end of the day. So we can set the record straight. I like this. This is doing it twice nightly, but I like the idea that we can set the record straight about the lines and the structure that came from you. So talk to me about those lines. What would you have written down? What bits are you are rightly the author and deserve the recognition?
Well, I mean, even that, I wouldn't have completely said that I was the author. I mean, a lot of the stuff came from Jeffrey Robinson.
Okay.
Because he did a lot of, he did all the chairmen.
Yeah, absolutely.
For ages and ages. So, I mean, I wouldn't claim it. I wouldn't claim it as mine. It's just that I was the person who wrote it down. That's all.
Okay, well, good recognition. So give me a couple of the things so we can identify.
Oh, I can't remember. You're going back years. There's one that Michael Kilgariff did about me, which I hated so much. And he said, "Here is Aline Waites to sing her favourite lay. And isn't she everybody's favourite lay?"
No. Twice a day. You can't have a majority.
Twice a day. And I had to come on and sing Poor Little Ugly Duckling.
Oh, no.
It was a serious song.
Oh, I know
it wasn't
this.
serious when I'd finished with it, actually, because I made it funny. But I mean, if that was, it wasn't going to be a comedy song. And it wasn't meant to be.
But they're normally a bit more subtle, aren't they? They're normally a bit more subtle with their double entendres, I would have thought.
What?
They're normally a bit more subtle with their double entendres, and whenever there's a double entendre, you just want to whip it out.
Yes, he was I'm just trying to remember things. I really can't remember. The thing I tend to do, whenever I stop doing something, I wipe it out of my brain completely. And because I'm doing something else, because I've got to change to something else. Yeah, I'd keep changing my aims, really. It's strange, isn't it?
But not really, because I guess it's like a sort of cleansing thing. So it doesn't, you don't, as we were talking about clutter earlier, and how you're moving boxes from one to the other. I think if you're...
Yes, I get, well, the brain, yes. There's a lot of clutter in my brain, I can tell you. That's why I can't remember people's names.
That's all right. What's my name? What's my name?
No, it's not Alfred. No, it's not Alfred. Adrian? No.
Well, Susan, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you.
I do know your name.
I know you do. It's always such a delight. Well, I'm delighted you met up with Bill. I'm delighted we set the world right.
Oh, yes, we didn't talk about Bill at all, did we?
Well, you were going to say, but Bill mentioned you should mention about your son from the Dales, and we did that, and we plugged his book.
Yes, we did that. And I'll ring him up. I shall ring him up tonight and say, "I'm sorry I haven't read your book."
No, but I said, "I'm sorry I haven't read it, but I did speak about it. And I plugged it for lots of people." Here it is again, just in case people have not seen it. They can get hold of a copy of it. Fantastic book. Speaking volumes, for which he got an MBE. He did 600 books.
It's called Gordon Griffin.
Well, GG to his friends.
GG. Oh, yes, you can put that on.
There it is. GG, Gordon Griffin.
Gordon Griffin.
But I love it, just so people know that he's like a speaking thing. The publicity photo had to have the headphones on. I'm not really a fan. It's rather like magicians doing fans of cards and things like that, isn't it?
I saw I saw your thing with Boise.
Oh, did you like it?
Yeah, you are clever, aren't you?
Oh, look at me being clever. Oh, but Boise, he was great. Wasn't he?
I told Bill about it yesterday.
Oh, what did Bill have to say?
I couldn't remember what it was you'd done. I watched it very quickly. You know how one does.
Best thing to do. With one eye shut from behind the sofa.
And then of course you try. Now, how did you do that?
You see.
Yes, there was something. It was a piece of paper with something written on, wasn't it?
And it was a bit more than, because what it was, without spoiling it, it was a prediction. So Boise, otherwise known as...
Yes, and that's right, and he picked a number, And
Yeah.
that number appeared everywhere. Yes.
Yes, and it was John Chalice.
It's amazing. Long number it was.
Yes, but
Thousands.
it wasn't just on a bit of paper, but it was
3,000.
engraved on the watch that was
And
there.
the watch. That's right, on the watch.
Engraved.
How did you know what he was going to say?
Predicting in the same way as I can predict elections. It's all about patterns.
That was the amazing thing. Yes, it was engraved. The number that he chose was
It was
engraved.
very good.
And he didn't
And
give
it's a
it him
special episode. He had to think of his favourite episode, which nobody knew beforehand. I'd only just met him that day, John Chalice, otherwise known as Wesley. And he had to talk about his favourite episode of Only Fools and Horses, which celebrated, can you believe it, 1981, a couple of days ago, beginning of September 1981, that was the first ever episode aired. Isn't that extraordinary? 39 years ago. 39 years ago.
Yes.
First ever episode. And so I got him on. And the great thing about it, Aline, is that we did it in aid of Lifeline, which was for the Serbians. We had the Serbian royal family there. And they invited me to perform and present with all these Serbian footballers and the Serbian, the rich and famous from Serbia. It's glorious. And I came on and because I was doing magic and other things. I said, look, I'm the only wizard in a room full of witches. Because they're all Djakovic's and they all finished. We had a good giggle about that. But the good thing is we managed to raise, not just on that, we did some television as well for them. We managed to raise £500,000 for Serbia and the NHS as a result of these concerts.
Just by having something engraved on
Isn't that great? Isn't that fun?
I think that is incredible, actually.
But it's not, and it's good.
It is incredible. And I didn't know how. I had no idea how you got it, who arrived at it.
I still no idea myself. I barely know what I do most of the time. So, but it was, what I loved, it was fun. And well done for watching. I didn't know you'd watch that, but that's lots of fun. It is out there. You can Boise and Andrew Eborn. You can have a look for Serbian, and it's an incredible production. But what a lovely man, and that's what I liked about it. And it's really, a really good cause. And
actors are lovely. I mean, you know,
some are rotten. Some are rotten to the core. I mean, I don't know insecure. I've never seen, and you're right. Most people are lovely. And they can be lovely on most moments, but because, and I'll tell you what happened, you know my views on this, sometimes when people are very insecure, they say all sorts of horrible things about others.
Yeah, that's true.
And I have no time for that. When people say things rotten about other people, I say, firstly, if they're saying it about somebody else behind their back, they're probably saying it about you behind your back, because that's the sort of person they are. And but the reason they do that, it comes with security. So all I would urge is that people don't be rotten to other people, always question everything, build those bridges, and actually all the people that you're rotten to on the way up, you're going to meet them on the way down. So be nice to everybody. If you can be anything in this world, be kind.
Be kind.
I'm like a stuck record on that, aren't I? But I always say, question everything.
Yes, I know that and Ollie.
Oliver Reed. Oh, funny you should mention him. Didn't you do physics with him? Oh no, it was chemistry.
And of course now the new one, of course, which is the one who wrote that play.
Alan Ayckbourn, Sex Cells.
AA, yes.
AA. Absolutely, Alan Ayckbourn, Sex Cells. And you did it twice a day for years. That was the secret of your success.
Ollie Reed, Alan Ayckbourn, and Gordon Griffin.
There you go. Gigi. We like, and you see, there's the AA. It always has to be that sort of thing. It's always a AA and GG. It looks very well, doesn't it? And OMG. Oh my God, it's
OMG. No, that's no good at all. All my children, my son is called Alexander Jago.
Alexander Jago.
And my daughter-in-law, my daughter is called Aya.
She's
Ayako.
I love you post picture of your daughter on social media, and she's
wonderful,
like
isn't she?
crazy woman pointing or something.
I know. It's so because whenever you take a photograph of her, she has to do a turn every time. You know, you say, I point the photograph.
She's wonderful. No, but it's so good. She's wonderfully hands the camera and obviously knows about your world and your people.
Amazing. And she takes wonderful photographs as well, of course. And you know, she took a photograph of me dancing. Did I tell you that?
Oh no, I haven't seen it.
No, you won't. Because what happened was when we were in the hotel room, the television was on, and our lady was doing the class. So I thought of joined in, but I wasn't wearing the right kind. I was wearing a very sort of loose blouse and things, you know. So I was doing all this stuff, and I didn't know that she was actually recording it. And then she played it back to me, and I said, "Oh no, get rid of it, get rid of it." And said, "No, I have to take it to send it to my father, because he always wants to know what things I'm doing." So she's sending it to his father. So I said, "All right, well, he can see it, but nobody else."
That's all right. Well, if she's watching, she will be watching. If you'd like to send me a copy, I'll make sure that it gets a good audience. I think that'd be fantastic. We can send it to guests@octopustv.com and any other.
I'm not getting it. No, you know, it was that frilly, and of course it meant that you couldn't really see what I was doing because it was all sort of, you know, loose and horrible. It was horrible.
I doubt if anything you do is horrible. It's all.
Oh, darling, I know you've got a smooth tongue, haven't you? That's how you get round people, isn't it?
It's always a thrill. I love it.
You know, it works as well, don't you?
Flattery will get you everywhere. It's always a joy, but it's sincerely meant. And
Flattery does get you anywhere. That is true. It's absolutely true. And it certainly is. And also, this girl who came today.
Yes.
What is her birth sign? She's a Leo.
Leo.
And she said, "Yes, I'm very susceptible to flattery." I said, "Yes, that's right."
She say nice things about her then, because then she'll watch this episode. And we can say, so she's available for hire. She can come and sort out the hooks on your curtains.
Oh, don't. No, what? She's not available for hire. She wants to do little things. It's like Bob a job, you know, before she goes to university, because she goes on the end of the month.
Oh, okay. So but helping out with things. What's she going to study at university?
English.
English.
Drama, yes.
English and drama. Okay. And where's she going? Do you know?
Bristol.
Oh, Bristol's wonderful.
Lovely, isn't it? Yeah.
I like Bristol. It's all very good. So
I went to Bath, of course, which is very good.
I know you did. And Bath is beautiful. Stunning place. I stayed at the Royal Crescent in Bath. Wonderful hotel in the middle, and you can overlook the whole world.
Yes. Yeah.
But you feel regal there in Bath, don't you?
Lovely place. Did you drink the waters?
Are you supposed to?
Yes.
Oh, then I did. I normally do things I'm not supposed to do.
Of course you've got to drink it. It's absolutely horrible.
But it's got chemicals and things in it, hasn't it? Which is good.
Well, yeah, it's mineral. It's mineral. It's from the Bath. Bath. Yeah. That's why I call it Bath, of course.
Oh, we love Bath. Absolutely. Yeah. I was going to buy, seriously, I'm talking about wonderful place, and you saw this wonderful place where you were, which wasn't on the river at Henley. I was going to buy a castle in Bath.
A castle?
Yeah, it looked seriously, it looked very reasonable. And it did. No, but
was it a ruin? Was it a ruin?
No, it was there. It was like it was a proper castle.
Well, why didn't you buy it?
Well, I was tempted to, but I'd have to move from my place in London. I think if you do.
What you really want is a castle in the middle of Regent's Park, isn't it?
Yes, if you can move it, wouldn't that be great? And there's a lot of fantastic properties that I see around, and if I could move them to Regent's Park, because this
I couldn't.
One of the best.
I didn't know what you meant when you said Blackham's or whatever it is. It's the name. It was the name of the estate agent.
Yes.
The name of the estate agent.
Yes, that's what I it's a magic trick. It's a magic trick. See?
You know everything.
I read your mind through the ether.
I'm going to find something you don't know one day.
I
would like to interview you.
Oh, you should do. You should do. I'll tell you the one thing I'm not good at. The one thing I'm not good at is modesty.
Modesty? Really? Oh no, I don't believe that. You're a shy little person. I am shy.
I know you're shy. I know you're shy. And actually, interestingly, I'm a little bit shy in the right sort of places. And I think what happens, we've spoken about this, and today actually, and we should say that today is International Suicide Awareness.
Yes,
International Suicide Awareness Day. And I know you are watching a very moving piece. When we talk about people being shy, and so often it's those who are the ebullient ones, the ones who, the comedians, the ones who make the biggest noise. Inside, those are the ones who so often tortured the most. And on International Suicide Awareness Day, we should be aware of it all the time, but it's a particular focus today. I've had on the show, and I think you were watching it previously, a guy called Nick Jordan, who is in Australia. Contacted me via friends, and it was a tragic, well, it could have been a really tragic situation. There's no other way of describing it, he put what was effectively a suicide note on social media. He said, look, he'd had enough, and he was going to end it all.
That's right, you told me, yeah.
Really, really tragic. And fortunately, what happened is all of his friends on social media, and he had many, he's actually in the business, writer and so on and so forth. He had a terrible situation in his own personal life. But fortunately, they all plowed in and said, no, Nick, you mean this is why you think about who you're leaving behind, think about your son, think about all the people you mean a lot to us, don't do it. People were so concerned that they called the police. One person called the police, and they knocked on his door to effectively stop him doing it. And I think Nick afterwards, he'd been in rehab, and he's spoken about it publicly. He's been on the show and spoken about it publicly. He realized that actually a lot of good can come out of a really dark situation. A lot of good is if you share your experiences, others going through the same problem suddenly realize, hang on, you're not alone. Here's a coping mechanism. Talk to somebody about it. Think about the people you would be leaving behind and the devastating effect on them. And if we can save one person, this is why I always say, in amongst all the frivolity, if we can save one person from going down what would be a tragic, tragic end, then we've done some good.
Yeah. I find talking to you is therapeutic. Because I mean, it's just work, because I spend a lot of time not talking to anybody for ages. But that was good. It was very good to talk to you. Very good.
And I was very pleased. And in fact, he's coming on the show tomorrow. He's in Australia at the moment to give us an update, because he said, look, as a result of talking to people, and he's really...
Yes, he's coming tomorrow. Is it on tomorrow?
He's on the show tomorrow, so he's contacted me. He's in Australia because of the time difference. It's like 12 hours difference.
Oh, yes, it's a very strange time, isn't it? Yes.
I said to him, you should come on today because today's Suicide Awareness Day. And I actually said, and I've said it publicly, is that we should be aware of it every day. So he's going to be on the show tomorrow. We'll have an update on where he is.
Yes, you see, the trouble is, I think that you because one's moods are so change so often, mine anyway. I know, because I can be really miserable one minute, and then something nice happens, and suddenly I'm happy as anything. It's like when Paul's book, I told you that, didn't I? And I was really depressed, and I just opened the book, and there was a poem about death, and it made me laugh, and I was better.
But that's what you want. And I always say to people,
we haven't done Paul yet, have we?
We'll do a special episode on Paul. I don't think we'll come back and talk about Paul. Maybe we should.
What's a book? Now I got your card, didn't I? That's another card. I got your card. I know your address.
You found the card the very first time we met. There we go. Let's have a look. What have you got? Are you holding it up? Go on then.
I've got your card.
Oh, you got it! Oh, I thought you were going to hold it up. I thought this was going to be a dramatic moment. I thought you were going to show us. There we go. Let's have a look. I can't hold it up. Oh, there it is. What does it say on it?
Eborn and Associates International, Law and Business Offices, Global Licensing and Rights Management. Andrew Eborn. Who? Andrew Eborn. 80. Yes. Anyway.
Hold it up. Hold it to the camera. Let's have a look. Show us the card. Hold it to the camera.
Where is the camera?
Right, hold it up there. Oh, look at that. Say something. There we are. Fantastic. And that's me. Look at, and you kept it after all these years. How exciting is that?
I mean, I just found it in a load
It was sorting out skeletons.
And 3 cards came out, and one of them was yours.
Very,
and I think, how extraordinary. I actually know this person. I've actually I mean, I have a lot of cards that, you know, people have given me, and this one's something I actually know.
It is
amazing. I've got a copy of one of his old books. I've got 2 copies, so I can send you one of his complete works finishing in 2013 or something like that. But it just gives you the idea, and I can send you that.
Oh no, well, we'll talk about it. We should maybe even get some of these people on the show. They can, if they like to talk about it, be absolutely.
I'm sure he'd like to talk to you. I mean, he's quite happy about it. You know, I said, would you like to talk? Oh yes, he said. Oh yeah.
Oh, misguided soul. I love it. No, well, he's very, very welcome on the show. And that's what I love about this, is that actually what's happening now is lots of people are writing in saying they'd like to come on the show. So I think that in the last week, I've been in contact by people around the world. I mean, every week, from everywhere, they're all coming in. But particularly, we've had lots in North America.
Talk about their sex exploits, obviously.
Oh, I think that would be good, wouldn't it? Twice a day, sex cells. I should do it by Kenneth Williams' voice. It'd be wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
See? So I think we're doing that with the title just to prove the bit about hooks. I think that makes a lot of sense. And we'll certainly talk about your chum next time. Delighted.
I didn't actually do it twice a day. I was heard about it. I was on twice a day. I can't quite wait.
Twice a day is...
People might complain, you know, they said, no, she didn't do it twice.
No, but it doesn't matter. No, as we said before...
Who's going to get in the way of a good story? I know.
P.T. Barnum always said, if you want to draw a crowd, start a fight. And I'll tell you what, this is what happens. You can turn on, and social media proved it last time. You turned on and said what you said about Jeremy Irons and that chemistry with Ollie Reed, and all of a sudden they all came out of the woodwork. I loved it. It's got to be good.
You're an evil person. Maybe Jamie was right. I was thinking, I wonder if Jamie sees this.
Oh, I hope so.
He must see it. He must see it because he sees it. You know, he's on my Facebook, and he sends me messages every day. He sends me messages, but he doesn't mention you.
Oh no, nobody would do that. Now, I think what happens, Aline, is that this is everybody's secret guilty pleasure. The secret guilty pleasure is to sit and listen to these ramblings. So not everybody admits to it. It's rather like admitting to voting a particular way. You have to lie to the pollsters. You say, have you seen the A&A show, the Aline and Andrew show? They say, oh, no, never heard of it. But they're all watching.
I
mention their names. I think that would be good, wouldn't it?
I did that today, but I meant it when I said I had never, to my knowledge, ever seen a member of the Kardashian family. Because there's a picture of them.
Okay.
About 7 people, is it? Like 7 dwarfs.
Well, the series has come to an end. So they've done it now. They've made their billions.
Yes, I know. That's what it was about. And you know, people were saying, oh, I should miss it. What? Who are these people? You know,
well, they're Keeping Up with the Kardashians was the name of the studio. They made billions from it. So there is a slot. There's a slot in the schedule. Maybe we could fill it.
Well, it's done in America, isn't it?
No, it's worldwide. We go around the world.
We go to America.
Yeah, we go to America. We do good stuff.
If there's any America left by then, because I think it's all burning up.
Oh yeah, there's fire. Our heart goes out. I mean, and it happens all the time. I mean, this is the problem, isn't it? It's and they had it in Australia as well. I mean, and it's not just
in Australia. So when is it coming here?
Well, I don't know. You're fired. It's the old Alan Sugar program. I mean, the reality is, and climate change. This goes back to our people yesterday on Oxford Street. You look at what's happening. We've had glorious weather, and then it's all chilly again. Something's going on, isn't it?
Something's very odd.
It is very odd. Well, I'll tell you what I did have.
Something very peculiar going on.
It is most peculiar. And one of the things I've started to get on the show are psychics. Psychics are starting to contact me.
Yes, tell me about psychics.
Yeah, we want to come on the show and talk about stuff. And so I've had a few psychics on. And what I particularly like, there was a psychic, wonderful psychic who came on. He doesn't mind, and she told me about how to spot a fake psychic, which I think is good.
Well, I do know that this house here,
Yes.
the person who lived here was
Yeah.
the woman who wrote Cold Comfort Farm.
Oh, really?
Stella Gibbon.
Wow.
And we was haunted by Aunt Ada Doom for quite a long time. That we had to get Mrs. Pat to come and exorcise her.
Mrs. Pat?
Mrs. Pat, our wardrobe mistress, who was a psychic, yes.
And what did she do to exorcise her?
I don't know. I was here. She just sort of hung about for a bit. But what it was, we didn't see the person. We just heard the rocking chair, creaking rocking chair. And it drives you mad, you know.
Oh, it's a Bates Motel. That's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't frightening in any way. It was just annoying.
Oh.
So anyway, Pat came and did something, and then the noise had gone. Noise went away.
I wonder where they go once they've been exorcised.
I don't know, but I mean, you know, there could be loads of places. I mean, Aunt of the Doom was an imaginary person anyway. So, and she might have been based on somebody, of course. You know, she probably was. Yeah. Most people are.
Well, most people draw their inspiration from real life experiences. So
that was extraordinary. But Pat was wonderful. I mean, she did so many wonderful things because she didn't even have to do anything. That was what was so amazing about her. I mean, if you know, often actors, oh my God, a headache. And she would just say, oh, just sit down for a minute. And she'd just look at them and they would magically go away.
Oh. Well, that's
all the day.
I think there are some wonderful things, and I think it's when people talk about energy in people, when energy is here, it'd be strange to think that energy just goes. I think there's always a feeling there.
She used to have meeting classes, sort of classes, you know, a lot of people who were into the thing. And one thing was, what is it, psychometry, I think it was. And I gave them some things I was wearing. And I wasn't there, the thing. But what I did, I went to Borovick's because I was getting some costumes, or buying some material for the minstrel show. And I got big lot of satin, different bright jewel colors, right? And to give to the woman who was making costumes. And then I gave my ring to Pat to give to somebody. And it came back all written out. She is surrounded by jewel colors.
Very nice. Well, that's a good thing to have, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was just something that, you know, I'd never thought of before. And the jewel colors, it was something that was in my head because I'd been buying this material. And I actually use the term jewel colors, you see. I want jewel colors in satin.
Yes. But it is interesting. I mean, as you know, as a member of the Magic Circle, there's a lot of things that we can replicate without claiming any particular powers. And that's why lots of members of the Magic Circle are very skeptical about what happens. And in fact, there was a challenge. There has been a challenge. A chap called James Randi, who's no longer with us. But he offered $1 million, $1 million to anybody who could prove that they actually had any psychic powers. And I think that challenge is still open. They have this with the Magic Circle. I think they're still offering, basically, if people want to come on and can prove they've got it in scientific circumstances, because so often what happens is magicians can replicate. They can replicate.
Yes, yes.
And that's the difference, is turning around and saying, well, okay, let's cut out the fraudulent ones, because I think the people who prey on people at their most vulnerable, that tends to be when a lot of people are, they've lost somebody or whatever. Houdini famously, he lost his mother, and he went along, he was hoping to be able to be contacted or to contact his mother. And he went along to a psychic. And first of all, he was really hoping that they would be able to come through and find his mother. And the reality is that he realized they were conning him. And so he then spent all his time trying to debunk them, basically. I think he also said when he died on the 31st of October, you know, Halloween, he would come back. He would come back and see that he would tell people if there was an afterworld, and he would come back and make sure.
Oh, yeah.
And he would knock. make that happen. So I think that challenge is still out there. So I'm very keen. I'm delighted that people are coming on the show and talking about things, because you know me, I like to question everything, keep an open mind.
Well, I think we wrote about her. You know, we wrote a sitcom about her.
Okay.
I've been asked to make it into a book. Well, I find I can't do it somehow. But the important thing is, of course, you must never take money for doing this.
Oh, okay.
No, that is one of the rules. You know, if you do something like that, they offer you money, you have to say no. I don't take money. Well, obviously, donations or something like that. But
so how do they deal with it? Because I've when I've spoken to them, I was told. I'll tell you why. One of the psychics I had on, I asked her, how can you tell? There's lots of fraudulent ones around, and she recognised, yes, there are fraudulent. She said absolutely, and she said that a friend of hers had paid for this particular psychic to go and see another very famous psychic like a treat, and it cost her £1,000. It cost the friend £1,000 to send this psychic to go and see another one. And she said this other psychic didn't get anything right. And I said, well, how can you spot, if there's members of the public, how can they spot if somebody's real? And they say that the way to spot it is if they ask questions as opposed to give you information. The thing is not to say anything at all, but just to listen, and then to go away with the recording and see how much of it is accurate.
But don't ask for money. If you ask for money, then you're obviously not right. Yeah.
Okay. But I think they all get money, don't they?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Pat lived on me, because we paid her to be our wardrobe mistress. Right. But I mean, as far as that, no, but the thing, they had a big bowl, and people used to put money in, and I mean, this is what I wrote anyway. I'm just what I wrote, and they take enough money to replenish the lot of food that they give people. Have lots of food, I think, and then give the rest to charity. Yeah.
That's something. Well, I've done it. I've told fortunes. When I was at school, I went to a place called Lord Wandsworth College, and we used to have a fete every year which raised money for people. And I would, one year they asked me to be the fortune teller, and I dressed up as Madam Zaza. Yeah. And I had a little, one of those baubles you have at the bottom of the garden, a little crystal ball, and people would come in and I would tell their fortune, and I would do a lot of cold reading, where I mean, basically you can tell things about people and you can speak, and I do a lot of speaking, and they would then basically they didn't realize it, they were giving me back information, and I would feed it back to them in different ways, and all that sort of stuff, like you've got a scar on your left knee and you're sometimes happy, but you get times when you're miserable. I mean, you do all these Barnum statements and various other things, and you twist it and you're feeding that sort of information, and you can build a picture. And what was really alarming, people said to me, it was incredibly accurate what you said. How did you know so much about me? And if I was mischievous or wanted to make a lot of money out of doing it, I probably could. And that would be wrong, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That's why they ban money. Yeah. Because that's how people do it for money, then they're obviously not doing it right.
Yeah, I think it's quite dangerous. But I say we have to keep an open mind about things.
It is amazing. It was amazing, actually, Pat. She's dead now.
Right.
But we wrote this thing about her. I could send you. Well, you wouldn't want to read it.
I would. Why wouldn't I want to read it?
I don't like reading things.
I like reading.
You don't read things.
I do read things. I like reading.
Have you read my books? No, you haven't.
I love your books. I have several times. It's my favourite. You can test me on the pages.
I've actually quoted things to you and waited for your reaction. None.
I love it. I love all your stuff. I've even read other people's books that mention your name. In fact, I know one which has got the word speaking in it. And if you look on page 2 of that, I think your name appears very close to Ron Moody's. See, I've even identified the book. I remember where your name appears in it. Page 2 of whatever it is, frankly speaking, it's there.
Wow.
And wouldn't that look good in the edit? There you go. So we can predict that. It's a real joy. And talking of which, we will get you back. It's always a pleasure to catch up. Thank you so much for joining me.
It's always nice to be here. Yes.
Always a joy. And I shall look forward. We'll come up with that wonderful things. And let's see what people react to this time, because reactions are always interesting. And
well, I want to know what you're going to say, because is it going to be wicked?
I'm never wicked. I'm never wicked. I think you can... You've got to have the hook. You've got to have the hook for the curtains. We like sex cells, and it was you who suggested twice a day. That's what you suggested. So you suggested putting that in the title.
I was making a joke, but of course you take it seriously. Oh God! You've got to have heart.
You've got to have. We were going to finish on a song, weren't we? That's what we said we'd do. So over to you to finish on the song.
I can't sing. I can't sing.
You can sing. You can't. Do you remember when you said you can't sing? You said that to your chap who played your son, and he ended up in a West End musical.
That was me saying that.
I know. Well, I'm saying it to you.
If I say it to people, then that works. I don't think it works with you.
Well, it doesn't work with me. We know you can sing.
I know you're a magician. You call yourself a magician. Play terrible tricks on people.
I never play tricks on people. It's always let's finish on a song. What are we going to finish on?
I don't know. I can't. You think of something.
Well, maybe one from one of your songs. One of your songs from the old time musical.
When I'm strolling down the lane. No, just a minute. Let me see, I can't. When I'm strolling in the park with some young dandy, never mind if he is Roger, Jim, or Randy. He knows I'm wearing my heart on my sleeve, and oh, how he loves it. I could spend an awful lot of time concealing all the little things that I enjoy revealing when I am wearing my heart on my sleeve. I've got no voice at all. And if I meet a boy who wants to be my steady, he will know that I am good and ready. If a Johnny has for me a predilection, I can always point him in the right direction, show him I'm wearing my heart on my sleeve. I'm sorry, I'm not singing very well.
You are singing beautifully. It is such a joy.
I haven't got any resonance or anything, you know.
We love it.
I haven't done any exercises today. I've done my exercise, but I haven't done any singing exercises.
Well, it's a perfect way to finish. Thank you so much for being my guest, and we'll see you next time.
Well, there's more to it. I mean, you know, it goes on for a long time. That's
do you want to do another verse?
No.
That's what you were saying. That was me wrapping it up and saying, well, there's more to it.
There's loads of it, yes. There's loads of it.
Wonderful.
Anyway, never mind all that. Never mind. I'll think of something better next time. That is just one that I sing along. I sing that when I'm walking around. And I also sing You've Got to Have Heart, which is really...
Best advice ever. You've got to have heart. It's got to be good. You've got to have heart will be the final words.
Yes, you've got to have heart.
You've got to have heart.
Miles and miles and miles of heart.
Miles and miles of smile.
It's fine to be a genius, of course, but put that old horse before the cart. First, you got to have heart.
Love it. Love it.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
We leave you with this thought.
Yeah. We'll leave you with this thought. I love it. The cart before the court. What? Yes, we love it. It's got to be good. You've got to have heart. It's a great way to finish.
Heart, yeah.
We will depart.
Hope. Wait till next year and hope. Things are not as bad as you may think they are. So wait till next year and hope.
Okay.
Next year. Well, when this year's over, I'll be awfully pleased.
Next year, Rodney, we'll all be millionaires. That's what John Challis used to say in Boise. celebrating 39 years of it.
They were, weren't they? They did get a lot of money, didn't they?
They did get a lot of money, and that episode and that magic trick with the engraved thing on the watch tells everybody how it happened. They should go and look that out. Boise, Andrew Eborn, watch that magic trick. It's a joy. And I love the way we've weaved it all beautifully. We've done it all the way from the hooks of your curtains, all the way through the people who've been helping you, all the way to Oliver Reed and his chemistry. We've done
And Izzy Turnbull. No,
Izzy Turnbull.
No, what would I say? What was her name?
Is it necessary? Absolutely. She was wonderful. So
is it necessary on a bicycle? Yes.
She's very
all
good.
right.
We'll
Au revoir.
And she'll watch this episode. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me. See you.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. See you next time. Bye-bye.
I'm going to go. Oh, it's gone. It's not there. There's usually a thing that says leave, but it's not there.
Leave? Is it that subtle? Well, I don't just say
leave. I've seen it. Shall I press it?
You can press it. You hang up first.
Shall I press it?
Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. There you go. The wonderful Aline. Always a joy. And thank you so much to Aline for being my wonderful guest. As always, it's a joy to catch up with her. If you'd like to be a guest yourself on the show and talk about whatever you want to talk about, write to me at guests@octopustv.com. That's guests@octopustv.com. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.